So I started working in restaurants when I was actually 14. My favorite restaurants were when I moved to the Twin Cities and was able to work under some cool chefs who were doing really innovative things with food that I have never seen before growing up in rural Wisconsin. And that's where it all started. That's where I kind of fell in love with food and the idea of all the different things you can do with it.
I hiked the Appalachian Trail in 2004 and stayed in hostels along the Appalachian Trail and hiked most of the Pacific Crest Trail. Walked and hitchhiked my way from Missouri to California and hiked most of the Pacific Crest Trail. I just stayed in hostels, and I have a construction management degree. And so when I would leave these little areas that had hostels, I would just, I'm hiking 20 miles a day. So thinking about, well, what would I do different at that hostel? What would I do different at this hostel? And how would I do this? And how would I do that? And so that's how I occupied my time thinking and walking. And when we bought this property, I never actually thought of turning the barn into a hostel.
Hungry Hippie Tacos is in Grand Marais, Minnesota. That's where we started. I think that's a tricky market, right? Because spiced can really hurt people here. So it was fun to navigate and to build from scratch the building and everything in Duluth. So now we have this amazing kitchen we can work in. It's sort of like half kitchen, half learning kitchen, half laboratory, half production kitchen. And we've got an amazing patio we can work with there. And just a more willing crowd to try unique things. So it's been a super fun to be in both locations. In addition to the taco shops, we have Hungry Hippie Hostel, which is just a short drive outside of Grand Marais. It's on our family homestead, so we do share our property with a lot of guests in the summertime. I mean, everyone's enjoying the property. It's super cool. Watching them interact with our dogs. I think a lot of people don't have wide open spaces to run, so it's fun to preserve that space for them to just get dirty, get wild, eat handfuls of whatever out of the garden, and talk to our horse. Like, that's awesome.
Kate and I started the hostel. Actually, this is our 10-year anniversary. This is our 10th year in business here in Grand Marais, and we were actually on vacation, and we were in Black Hills, Badlands area, Custer State Park, and we stopped in Rapid City. And when we left, I'm like, man, this town needs a hostel. And so on the ride home from that, it's like a 12-hour drive or something, I have a background in construction, so I took the barn that was on our property and figured out how to turn the horse stalls into private rooms and convert the whole thing into a hostel. And that's how the Hungry Hippie got started.
We just tried to stay true to what we're doing, right? Like, we want to go stay on someone's farm, hang out. I mean, I'm from Wisconsin. Jeremy's from Southern Illinois. We're Midwestern. We like farms. We like growing things. So I think that there's a niche of people out there that find comfort in that as well,
We actually had some animals. We were pasture raising some pigs out here and just trying to figure out what to do with it until we came up with the idea of the hostel. And Kate was like, sure. Feel like we have like a 5-star hostel here. We have private rooms with queen-size beds in them, and we have duvet covers, and we have fancy artwork, and that's not what you find on a hostel on the Appalachian Trail. So she did her thing, and we followed suit, and yeah, I love it. I love how it turned out, and she did a great job decorating it. And so we started that the first year, so it was 2016 we started, and just to get the word out, people would come up and see us, and they wanted a tent camp. Like, sure, put a tent out back, and just you can use the showers inside the hostel. And by the second summer, we had so many people camping, and the hostel was filling up because word was getting out really fast. And so I said, well, obviously there's demand for a campground. So we decided we built a shower house and added a campground. And at that time, we threw some tents up, and we called it Glamping. That was just starting to be a phrase, 8 years ago or whatever. So we put a couple glamping tents up and 7 campsites and started a campground as well. And We just keep adding a little bit more. We'll put up a pavilion so the glamping folks can go stay at the pavilion and get some coffee and get out of bugs or whatever they need to and meet people. And yeah, it's been wonderful. We got a great view of the lake, and it caught on pretty quick, and everybody seems to enjoy it.
Gardening has always been something that has been in my life. You know, whether we were running through my grandmother's garden, she had like an acre of garden. She grew everything. My mom had a garden. It was just a cool thing. We were just always running around with fresh produce in our hands and garlic chives hanging out of our mouths. We are so thankful to have been able to purchase this homestead and be able to fulfill the destiny of being able to grow things here and watch our kids run wild with garlic chives out of their mouth and watch them raise chickens and horse chores. And then we harvest stuff out of the garden and see what do we have to work with. And we just make fun, simple dishes with them usually, but it's also my time to be able to be creative and use those ingredients and like sort of take that Iron Chef approach, you know, when my kids are like, you've got rhubarb and you've got some garlic chives, Mom. What are we going to do today? But I think it's the best way to use my time in the evening. And it helps us all unwind and cook together. It's the coolest thing as a parent to see your kids bring in a handful of things and want to cook something with that. That's like the ultimate.
We got started. It was pretty amazing. The people that stayed, like the first 3 months, we had people from Turkey and people from Ireland and South America. So we put a world map up inside the hostel just because I was curious to see where we'd draw people from. And we have drawn people from all over the world to our little hostel up here in the middle of nowhere, Grand Marais, tucked in the woods. And you know, it's fun because you get to bring everybody together. That's probably the thing I like the most about hostels on the Appalachian Trail is, you know, you're out hiking and you're kind of doing your own thing individually and you're hiking by yourself, but every time you came to a town that had a hostel, then there was a bunch of other hikers there, and the sense of community and bringing people together. And it doesn't matter what race you are, where you're from, it doesn't matter. You can sit around a campfire and everybody can talk and get along and get together. This place needs a hostel, right? This place needs a place where people can get together from all over the world and all over the state and country and get together and enjoy Lake Superior, enjoy the boundary waters. You know, Cook County has so much to offer. It's just, we love it.
I think a lot of people have different expectations of what a taco is. Inventing odd varieties of tacos wasn't wildly accepted as first, but I'm persistent, so. And I think that the more you're cooking, the more people trust what you're cooking and they get it. But, you know, smoking your own meats here, that was a game changer, right? We can like smoke 10 pork butts a night and just have this like really great product to work with. And we all know that smoked pork pairs well with like something tangy like that blueberry barbecue sauce or making chimichurri, but it's, you know, can be hard to get all those fresh herbs up here. So in the wintertime, we decided to switch it to like kale. So like kale and chilies and lime juice. And so same concept, different green thing, but it still ends up being super fun and super flavorful, and it matches well with our smoked meats. And so I greatly appreciate the public for trusting me. I know that it is a wild concept to push the boundaries of what we put on a tortilla. And even our tortillas themselves they're not a common thing. You know, they're a flour tortilla that we add a little extra leavening to. We mill our own wild rice flour to add to our tortillas. And then we fry them to order. So they're crispy on the outside, soft on the inside. And then we fill them full of all these unusual things like salsa roasted chicken, bacon, and avocado ranch dressing, or, you know, blueberry barbecue sauce and smoked meats. So it's not your typical taco. And that is very fun for me. That makes it fun. And the fact that they sell well and that we've been greatly accepted along the North Shore is just, I'm tickled because I can keep going then, you know? I can keep going. I can trust that what we're doing is working and people do like it, so.
I love the part, like the community, right? The hostel and the people that we meet. And the sense of community. I just always been a part of that. I played football in college, and I love team sports and bringing people together and accomplishing things and showing people the beautiful area. On the flip side, that's the tough part. You know, it's like we're in the middle of nowhere, man. Like, it's harder to get things up here. It's harder to find contractors. Luckily, I got the background of construction, so I can help build a lot. Usually, I can find the neighbors have construction companies, and they help build a lot of the stuff here. And they'll build the buildings, and my dad and I and one of my buddies have built all the interior stuff out. But that's probably the toughest part is being secluded.
I am super thankful that I grew up with very frugal parents and grandparents. My grandparents were Depression era, of course. And grandma was always finding new ways to use a milk jug or a t-shirt sleeve, right? So I think ingenuity and grit, like times 100 is what you need to own a business on the North Shore. No, I'm just kidding, kind of. Everything's so seasonal, right? So just to have the patience and the calm to navigate, you know, the flood of tourism that's here in Grand Marais in the summertime, because we're so thankful for it. We are so thankful that people drive all the way up here to eat our tacos. But it can be a lot, because in the wintertime, you can do, like, you know, cartwheels in the street and no one will know because there's no one here. Or the people are far and few, right? In November, it's pretty desolate here. So it's extreme. And so you have to be able to sort of navigate those extremes without feeling like you are losing your mind. And I think that's a huge practice. Like, I'm still learning, because, you know, it is a lot. Big holidays are a lot. But it is so awesome to see someone come in and haggard from traveling all the way up here, because everyone is driving a long distance to get to Grand Marais, and even Duluth as well. And so just to see them eat their taco and drink their cold drinks and be super satisfied, that is like the money. That's where it's at.
No matter how hard it gets, though, you're sitting here and people enjoy it so much, right? They sit back and they just appreciate what we've done, and they think that, you know, we're living the dream, and definitely feels like we are sometimes. We built what we're looking for, right? When we go on vacations, this is the kind of stuff that we look for, and that's why, you know, put your heart and soul into it, and it works.